Greetings to my Century Net Galaxy, it's Century Man here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. So this time going to review Judgment Day 2005 at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota on the 22nd of May 2005. The attendance for the show was 12,000. This show received about 220,000 pay-per-view buys, a downgrade than the previous year's show. That show received about 235,000 pay-per-view buys. The main event of that show was Eddie Guerrero versus JBL for the WWE Championship. The commentators for the show is Michael Cole and Taz. So the first match to kick off the show, we got the WWE Tag Team Championship match. We got M&M, that is Joey Mercury, and Johnny Nitro. Johnny Nitro is the future John Morrison, with Melina in their corner, defending the tag team titles against Hardcore Holly and Charlie Haas. By the way, M&M defeat Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero for the tag team titles a couple weeks ago on SmackDown before defending the titles on the show. I'll talk about Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero in their match later on in this review. Anyway, so this was a good match to kick off this pay-per-view. Wow, head cheese booking for this tag team. Hardcore Holly and Charlie Haas. Wow. I don't want to get into it. Charlie Haas, man. Holy shit. The biggest mistake for the 2004 draft, and really throughout the draft in the Ruthless Aggression era, is breaking up tag teams. Holy fuck. That was a big mistake, breaking up Will Ospreay's tag team, that is Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. Shelton Benjamin doing well on the red brand, that is Raw, becoming the Intercontinental Champion. As for Charlie Haas, on the blue brand, he did absolutely nothing. He was a jobber, he was booked like a loser, he was back and forth in tag teams before getting released. He came back in 2007 to reform with Shelton Benjamin, Will Ospreay's tag team. That's another story for another time. Anyway, this match was good. M&M was over as a heel. They were booing the tag team out of the building. Melina's doing the screaming gimmick, that got her over. The babyfaces got the offense first, then the heels. In the end, M&M hit the snatch up onto Charlie Haas to win this match and retain the tag team titles. Makes absolute sense. They're not gonna drop the tag team titles against a random tag team. Hardcore Holly and Charlie Haas. No disrespect to them. They end up holding the belts until dropping the belts to LOD, the reboot LOD with Heidenreich and Road Warrior Animal. Another story for another time. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good match to kick off the pay-per-view. Nothing special. It's good to see M&M. This is their first pay-per-view appearance as a tag team. In my opinion, M&M's got to be one of the most underrated tag teams in WWE history. Fun fact, two of them are still in WWE today. That is Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. John Morrison. He is John Morrison now, current timeline, teaming up with The Miz. Joey Mercury is the producer in WWE in our current timeline. Melina had one or two appearances, probably if they're doing a Raw reunion show or old school SmackDown, whatever. Yeah, let's move on to the next match. So the next match, we've got Carlito versus The Big Show. By the way, this is the final pay-per-view before the 2005 draft. You got a lot of filler feuds in this pay-per-view. Anyway, so Carlito, Big Show, holy shit. And this is the problem doing brand-only pay-per-views, because some of these brand-only pay-per-views in both brand splits, some of these matches came off, you probably see on Raw or SmackDown, not on a pay-per-view that people spending a lot of money. So the build up to this between Big Show and Carlito is also, Carlito is looking for a new bodyguard because his former bodyguard Jesus basically got kayfabe fired. Yeah, he got fired because being absolute suck, but he got fired in kayfabe for kayfabing stabbing John Cena in a nightclub. That was in kayfabe because in real life, John Cena was taking time off for filming The Marine. Another story, another time. That's going to be the buzzwords for this pay-per-view review. Anyway, so Big Show declined to become Carlito's new bodyguard. He snatched Carlito's apple, biting the apple, eating the apple, and the apple is rotten, tainted and bad, and Big Show kind of got a tummy ache. Holy shit, And then introduced Matt Morgan, who's Carlito's new bodyguard, with a weird look. Matt Morgan had dark hair, a goatee. Holy shit, his natural hair color is, I'm guessing his hair is strawberry blonde. I think that is his hair color. Anyway, The match between Carlito and Big Show, the match sucked. It's a squash match. Because Big Show had mostly the offense in this match. Morgan did interfere a lot, pulling down the ring ropes without the referee noticing. Big Show tumbling out of the ring. Referee, I think Carlito distracted the referee, and then Morgan hit cheap shot the Big Show with punches and the big boot, trying to keep this match short and simple. In the end, there was a referee bump. Matt Morgan hit the F5 on the Big Show. Carlito pins the Big Show for the victory. And yeah, this is 1 year. 1 year after Brock Lesnar left the WWE after WrestleMania 20. I think at this moment in time. And by the way, they're not even chanting for Brock because this show was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is the home place of Brock Lesnar. Because I think at this moment in time in 2005, Brock was in the he's pursuing a career in the NFL as an American football player. He's part of the Minnesota Vikings. He ended up getting cut from that team, ended up going to New Japan, and also pursuing a career in MMA. That was years later. Anyway, so yeah, it was better off. This is better off, benefiting for it. If it was a handicap match or Big Show versus Matt Morgan, I'll be okay with it. It could serve a good purpose, but yeah, Carlito, Big Show, give me a break. And by the way, Carlito ended up getting drafted to Raw. Morgan didn't do absolute nothing in SmackDown after Carlito got drafted to Raw. He ended up doing the Sterling gimmick. That is basically a spin to Bubba Ray's gimmick in ECW and his early year run in the WWF in 1999. Anyway, so he ended up getting released, ended up going to TNA. Yeah, another story for another time, folks. Holy shit. So, moving on to the next match. The next match, this is a better match. We got Paul London defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Chavo Guerrero. This was a fun match. I'll talk about a little bit more of the Cruiserweights later on after this match. So, the match was fun, but you got stiff spots in this match. So, basically you had Paul London hitting the Swanton Bomb onto Chavo outside the ring, barely killing Chavo. And Swanton Bomb is basically Jeff Hardy's move, because at this moment in time, Jeff Hardy's with TNA, came back at the company in 2006, and then minutes later, Chavo hit the springboard plancha off the top rope, and barely connect with Paul London. You can call it a little bit botchy, but it was a fun match to watch. In the end, London hit the 450 splash onto Chavo Guerrero to win this match and retain the Cruiserweight Championship. The Cruiserweight division in 2005 for WWE, it's starting to decline a bit because Ray ended up, getting away from the Cruiserweight division. You still got good workers like Chavo and Paul London. Billy Kidman, he never stayed in the company that long. He ended up getting released. You can tell it's the beginning of the end of the Cruiserweight division, the original Cruiserweight division for WWE. The X division of TNA kind of blew WWE out of the water because you had stars like AJ Styles, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, Low Key, Alex Shelley, Matt Sydal, who were in the company at the time. He'll become Evan Bourne years later. You can tell, the X division is growing in TNA, but in WWE's Cruiserweight division, it's the beginning of the end. I don't want to get into it. So, the next match, that's match number 4. We got Kurt Angle versus Booker T. Kurt Angle versus Booker T. Holy shit. So, this is a filler feud, because they did a fatal 4-way on SmackDown, winner faced John Cena for the WWE Championship. You had Angle costing Booker T the title, and also Booker T costing Angle the title. This is this feud on the show. Basically, Angle wants to rape Sharmell. He had basically gone into Booker T's locker room, trying to attack Sharmell, and Angle's kind of twist the whole situation, I think Sharmell's attacking him, going out to, attack his private parts, but wow, the Ruthless Aggression Era, man, I know Attitude Era they can get away from murder. The Ruthless Aggression Era is basically a continued period of the Attitude Era. They do a lot of crazy shit. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Wow. Some of the shit they do in the Ruthless Aggression Era, it goes too far. Like Triple H fucking up like a dead body. This is the whole Kane versus Triple H rivalry, Katie Vick storyline. Like I said, Triple H fucking a dead body, exploiting the death of Eddie Guerrero. This whole stuff was Sat going. Like Brock pushing Sat going down some stairs. Holy shit! And then 1 year later they did Vince McMahon versus God, and also the stuff with like Vince dressing up like a doctor, pulling things out of JR's ass. JR stands for Jim Ross. A lot of controversial shit, and also with Muhammad Hassan. With the Undertaker, another story another time. But Attitude Era they could get away, but Ruthless Aggression Era, if they do it correctly, it'll be good. But if they do it wrong, it goes too far. I like Ruthless Aggression Era shit. Some of the stuff is good, but most of it not so much. And this is totally against the Kurt Angle's character, because Kurt Angle is basically the Olympic gold medalist. All of a sudden he's now a sexual predator. Holy fuck, man. How the hell they got away with it? You can't... It's a damn shame we're not going to see these shit ever again, because today's WWE's PG, it's PC. But, watching, back in 2005, 15 years ago, you can tell you can still get away from this shit. How they do this shit. Sex, drugs, or whatever crazy shit. What the Ruthless Aggression Era are doing, including all the stuff with what's his name? Tim White's basically trying to kill himself. Holy fuck! Wow! I don't want to get into it. Let's move on. Before the start of the match, you had Angle basically throttled Sharmell, basically pinned her towards the sofa, holding her, covering her mouth with his hand. And, and this is not Sharmell's first time in pro wrestling. She's been in pro wrestling for years. She was Paisley in WCW, managing, Prince Iaukea, the artist. So, yeah, the match between him and Angle, and before that, you had, basically Angle sending Sharmell, it was a bra and panties and a handcuff saying slut. And also, Angle keep calling Sharmell a slut. And you had Booker T going after Angle. This is some segments in this show. Anyway, the match between Kurt Angle and Booker T, future members of Main Event Mafia, including Sharmell, who's part of that group years later in TNA. The match was good. It's personal between Booker T and Kurt Angle. It was a fun match to watch. In the end, Booker rolled up Angle with a small package to win this match. And afterwards, you had Angle beat down Booker. You had Angle going near Sharmell, grab Sharmell by the hair, and then Booker T got his comeback, attack Angle, handcuff Angle near the ropes, beating down Angle with some punches, and then Sharmell got her revenge on Angle, basically, smacking him and low blowing him, kick him in the balls, and that was it. It was just a one match feud. It was a strange feud, why they did that in the first place, but with Booker and Sharmell, they got their revenge on Angle, and then Angle ended up leaving SmackDown. He come back here later when he was the world champion after Batista got hurt, but Angle ended up going to Raw. Get to really do the WrestleMania 21 rematch with Shawn Michaels. I covered it that match at Vengeance 2005. That show I covered in the past. Just click playlist. It says WWE, classic WWE pay-per-view reviews, and you find my review of Vengeance 2005. I talk about that match, and also talk about their WrestleMania 21 match. Because they just got some good chemistry. Booker T ended up being the United States title picture in the autumn of 2005. Ended up fighting Benoit for the title. The 7-match series, the same 7-match series they did in WCW. Angle ended up in the WWE title picture in the autumn of that year on the Raw brand against John Cena. He ended up defending the Olympic gold medal in Raws, and before dropping the medal to Eugene. Won the belts back at SummerSlam, another show I covered in the past. Go and check it out. So moving on to the next match. The next match, we got Orlando Jordan defending the United States Championship against Heidenreich. Heidenreich. Jesus Christ, that theme music is so generic. Anyway, Heidenreich at this moment in time is a babyface. He's doing the whole friend gimmick, in this, before the start of this match. He basically, he brought out this female little girl fan and also read her a poem. He's still doing the fucking poem gimmick. Holy crap, man. But instead of the fans booing the poem, they basically cheering for Heidenreich, cheering for the poem. He was getting over in Minnesota, you know. Yeah, the gimmick was last showing. I'll get to that a little bit later on after this match. Yeah, not much about this match. This is similar to Big Show and Carlito. This is a SmackDown match with no build. A match you probably see on SmackDown, not on your pay-per-view that people spend a lot of money. In the end, Orlando Jordan hit, I think he hit Heidenreich with the DDT for the win, retained the United States title. And afterwards, you got this little going Heidenreich doing this. I don't know what Heidenreich's doing. He's barely doing like a Heidenreich dance. And you got like the theme music after this match. You go Heidenreich, you know. Yeah, the Friends gimmick, you know, that was dropped very easily sooner. He ended up teaming up with Road Warrior Animal to doing the whole LOD reboot, you know, defeat Eminem for the Tag Team Championships. And Heidenreich ended up getting released in, I think it was 2006. So moving on to the next match. The next match, we got, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. So their rivalry, they fought years ago in WCW, you know, for the Cruiserweight Championship, and also part of the LWO, Never Story of Enough Time, another buzzword for this pay-per-view review. Anyway, so the renowned rivalry in WWE, they fought at WrestleMania 21, and then the whole big storyline for Eddie, he couldn't beat Rey Mysterio, his long enemy. They're friends, but the long rivalry, I'm trying to say. So Rey won the first match of WrestleMania. Rey and Eddie end up dropping the tag team titles to Eminem, and then in the rematch, Rey accidentally hit Eddie. Eddie got pissed off, and he basically abandoned Rey. You know, Eminem retained the tag team titles, and then I think a week later, you basically Chavo was playing mind games towards Eddie. You know, manipulate Eddie because Rey's using you, and then you got Eminem and Chavo beating down Rey Mysterio. Eddie came to the rescue. You thought the friends were on the right track, but instead, Eddie turned on Rey. He ripped his white mask. He busted Rey wide open. I think he hit like a suplex onto the steel steps. He became this psychotic dude with the serious face, and I think this pay-per-view was the pay-per-view debut of Eddie's new theme music. His only one really short-lasted theme music. It was the cell phone, and it says, "Can you feel the heat?" Not this Viva La Rasta theme music. It's basically, you know, serious, you know. Anyway, I covered their match at SummerSlam, you know, the ladder match for the custody of Dominic. I covered SummerSlam 2005, another pay-per-view I covered in the past. Go and check it out. Anyway, the match between Rey versus Eddie, this was a good match, but this is the weakest out of the rivalry. Yeah, Chavo got involved. Chavo is a no-benefit factor in this rivalry between Rey and Eddie. They end up, you know, dropping Chavo in this rivalry because they're not gonna, like, you know, having Eddie and Chavo teaming up, you know, forming Los Guerreros. You know, that ship is sailed. Anyway, so the match was good. In the end, I think Rey was going for like a 619. Suddenly, Eddie hit Rey with the chair. He got himself disqualified, so I'm stumbling my words. Anyway, he kind of like hitting Rey with the chair even more. He left. He was the last man standing with the serious look. He left, and that was it. Wow. And Eddie was booked like a loser throughout his rest of his months in his lifetime, because he died later on in the year in 2005. You know, he ended up losing to Benoit at One Night Stand 2005. He lost that Great Match to Rey. He lost via disqualification on the show. He lost to Rey in the ladder match at SummerSlam. He ended up losing to Batista, his final pay-per-view match before his timely death. He was booked like a loser, man. I think Eddie should have got the win on this show. Basically Rey beat Eddie 4 times on pay-per-views. He got the win on SmackDown in a steel cage match, but 4-0 for Rey over Eddie. You know, WrestleMania 21, Judgment Day 2005, Great American Bash 2005, SummerSlam 2005. That was the blow-off of the rivalry. I think Eddie should have got the win out of the rivalry, you know, in pay-per-views, you know, because it didn't do Eddie any favors. You know, out of the rivalry in 2005, it's basically, I put this in the bottom. The best out of the rivalry has to be the ladder match at SummerSlam, you know, the custody of Dominic. Don't know about that match at Great American Bash. You know, that's another classic pay-per-view review for another time. So, this rivalry is basically testing the waters for Rey Mysterio, because for years now he was in the Cruiserweight division. He kind of broke away from the Cruiserweight division, and then funny that a year later he ended up winning the Rumble and becoming a world champion. Another story, another time. That is the buzzword of this pay-per-view review. Hashtag another story for another time. Anyway, moving on to the main event. In his first WWE title defense, WWE Championship title defense, we got John Cena defending the belt against JBL. This is their WrestleMania 21 rematch, and this match is an I Quit match. So this pay-per-view, Judgment Day, kind of put JBL's career on the map, you know, because he debuted with this character, the Rich Texan, at the previous year's pay-per-view. That is Judgment Day 2004 against Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship. He lost the match via disqualification. He won the title at the following month's pay-per-view. That's Great American Bash, another show I covered in the past. Go and check it out. He defeated Eddie in the bull rope match. It kicked off his 8 or 9 month reign as WWE Champion. And then the previous month at WrestleMania 21, John Cena defeated JBL for the WWE Championship. He won his first of 16 championships for John Cena in his career in WWE before he moved on to Hollywood. So this match is way better than a match at WrestleMania 21, because it was overshadowing of the match between Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. So it also really overshadowing, overshadowing, a bit of both. You know, they're basically overshadowing both the world title matches at WrestleMania 21. You know, like JBL versus John Cena and Triple H versus Batista. Anyway, the match was fucking good. This is the best I Quit match in WWE history. John Cena bled buckets. You know, he bled from head to toe. You know, completely blood. The next time we see John Cena in a Crimson Mask will be in a Last Man Standing match against Umaga at Royal Rumble in 2007. Very rare to see John Cena bloodied. You know, you see him bloody against Brock at Extreme Rules 2012, and I think recently he got bloodied was against Seth Rollins on Raw in 2015. Recently, 6 years ago. Anyway, JBL hit Cena with, chairs, hit him with steel steps. He keep hitting him with the mic. He was shouting like I think he called him a punk bitch, and Cena never gave up. This is way better than that Cena's future I Quit matches against Randy Orton at Breaking Point, The Miz at Over the Limit, Rusev at Payback, because the reason why I don't like these matches, because they're so watered down and so protected. Because Cena was super protected. He was a little bit protected in this match, but in the future I Quit matches with John Cena, including Batista's another one at Over Limit 2010, Cena was super protected, and it's so predictable that Cena is not going to say I quit, because Cena is the guy who never gives up, never I quit, never backs down. Cena pulled a good fight, I think he had the stuff with the JBL's limousine. I think he kind of shoved JBL's face into a TV monitor. There was a massive fucking truck near the arena. You had JBL choking Cena with a chain on top of the audio speaker, and basically Cena put JBL through a table. Then there was a fucking Cena got a piece of the pipe on the truck and tried to hit JBL with it, and JBL just basically said, I quit. That is fucking weak. This is similar to, they did it years later with the John Cena Batista's I Quit match at Over Limit 2010. Basically had Cena trying to AA Batista really trying to attitude it just through the stage, I'm trying to say, and Batista's I Quit, and that was completely weak. And yeah, Cena managed to hit JBL. He kind of like pushed him through the pixie glass symbol of Judgment Day. It's not on the same level as Kurt Angle suplexed Shane McMahon into the pixie glass symbol of King of the Ring. That was in 2001. That really fucked up Shane McMahon. Another story for another time. Yeah, Cena retains the title. In my opinion, this is the best this is way better than the I Quit matches against Randy Orton, The Miz, Rusev, Batista. And as for JBL, he never gets one whiff of the WWE Championship ever again. He ended up being in the world title picture years against Rey Mysterio, Batista not too long at Great American Bash and SummerSlam, CM Punk at SummerSlam 08. John Cena again in 2009, but never win another world title ever again. He ended up winning the United States title in 2006, the IC title in 2009, but the World Championship is, he's only won one world title in his career. It's a damn shame. As for Cena, this is Cena's last SmackDown pay-per-view appearance on the blue brand, because weeks later, I think it's next month in June, he ended up getting drafted to Raw. He became the first guy drafted to Raw from SmackDown, because at this moment of time, because Raw would end up, going on to the USA Network. They're still on that network to this day. Yeah, another story of another time. So anyway, so my final rating for WWE Judgment Day 2005, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. This was a fun show. This, Raw produced better brand-only pay-per-views of that year. For SmackDown, this is the strongest pay-per-view for SmackDown in that year, because most that I saw covered, No Mercy 2005 and Armageddon 2005, No Way Out 2005. They're okay, but not great. I think No Way Out was a little bit disappointed, but anyway. But Judgment Day 2005 was it's a good show, The two matches on the bad has to be, Big Show versus Carlito, and the United States title match between Orlando Jordan versus Heidenreich. Like I said, they're just SmackDown bonafide matches. But there were decent matches in this match. Decent matches to watch on the show. Like, this is basically a one-match show, that's John Cena versus JBL, the I Quit match. But you had, the Cruiserweight title match, you had Angle versus Booker T, you got Ray versus Eddie. Yeah, the disqualification was a bit disappointed, but yeah, I give it 7 out of 10. It's a fun pay-per-view to watch. So that's my review of WWE Judgment Day 2005. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos, Marvel videos, and more. Next time, so I'm going to get one more Judgment Day pay-per-view to review before this month is out. Let's travel 4 years into the past, into the Attitude Era. This month marks the 20th anniversary of that show, because weeks ago I covered Backlash 2001, when the two-man power trip defeated the Brothers of Destruction for all the gold. So let's see how, when Austin faced The Undertaker for the WWE Championship and Triple H versus Kane for the IC title face each other. So I'm talking about Judgment Day 2001. This is Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.